Hey everyone, it's Evangeline right here at etrailer, and today I have the Yakima FullBack 2-bike trunk-mounted bike rack. We'll take a look and focus on how it fits our 2023 Kia Seltos. So for the Kia Seltos, which is actually my vehicle, you have limited options when it comes to carrying around bikes because it doesn't already have a hitch installed, and you'd have to get a roof rack installed separately if it didn't already come with one. So your next option there for a quick and easy solution is the Yakima FullBack. Now ideally, if you can, please get a hitch installed onto your car so you can get a hitch mounted bike rack, because then you're going to get access to your hatch, where in this case you lose access to your hatch. But if for some reason you can't find a hitch, don't have the availability for the hitch, and or don't have the time or want to invest in one, let's take a look at how this is going to be the more premium option for your vehicle. The reason this is a bit more of a premium option compared to other trunk-mounted bike racks is the design here. So you can see how it has a top arm as well as a base pad with high-quality rubber, and that way you're less likely to scratch or scuff the exterior paint of your vehicle. You also have a cable lock with this rack that helps secure the last bike to the bike rack, and there is a hub design allowing you to adjust the arms up and down as well as adjust the entire rack to make it more of a custom fit for your car. This will fit differently depending on your car. So for different makes and models, the length this will add to the back will be different, but for this Kia Seltos, it sits 33 inches away from the bumper. Now this is a 2-bike version. You can also get this with a 3-bike capacity. The cradles will sit about 7.5 inches away from each other. There's other features like the 3 points of contact on your bike, making sure that your bikes are stable as they're all strapped up. You also have this stabilizing strap, and I'll show you how to get all of that in place, but first let's take a look at how to get the bike rack onto our Seltos. The installation of your trunk rack is probably going to be the most important thing that you're looking for, because every vehicle installs differently, and because of that, Yakima has a fit for different cars with different instructions. You can also check that out for our different videos here at etrailer. So first thing you're going to look for is the fit notes as well as the hub setting. Depending on your vehicle, there will be a measurement from your bumper or your trunk or your license plate to where the base pad should go. In the case of our SUV here, it says 8.5 inches, and that's measured from our bumper to where the base pad should sit. That's usually on a flat surface around the license plate area. Next, there's a hub setting for your vehicle. So when you rotate the dial in the center of the rack, you can then rotate your top arm. So our hub setting for this specific vehicle is number 2. There's an E sticker there so you can see where the notch is. Being mindful of all the straps, go ahead and double check that against your vehicle. Does the base pad fit at the measurement you took earlier? Does the hub setting allow that top arm to sit in a good spot against your vehicle? This looks good. We have a lot of clearances around the car. Now let's set up the straps. The clips have very clear labels for where they're supposed to go. Compared to other brands where it's kind of etched in and not visible, this one you can see right away. If your vehicle says it requires an anchor hook, meaning maybe it has a plastic spoiler and you don't want the hook pulling up against the plastic spoiler, you need it more distributed, you just switch out these hooks to the anchor position. So take out the hook, feed the end of the strap through the hook. They're going to go from the out and then in. And once you've fed that strap through, you now have a more distributed base, and this gets fed back into your bike rack. For setting this on your vehicle, I highly recommend getting a friend to help you out at least the first time so you know where all the hooks go. So I'm going to set this into place. Then I have my friend Cooper here. He's going to hold this in place right there. The top hooks fit into the opening of your trunk or your hatch. For some vehicles, you may need the vehicle door open for this. I like to get the top straps tightened down first. even if it's not all the way, but just enough so it holds its position and the person carrying the bike rack doesn't have to lift as much. For the bottom hooks, ideally, if you can, try to fit them in through that bottom door, but what might happen very often is you may have to lift up on your trunk or your hatch. If you have an automatic door, be very careful with this, and again, have your friend handy to just make sure you don't cause any damage to your car. The door is also going to be a little heftier, so lift up, being mindful of the bike rack, get that into place, and then sit back down. With all the straps in place, you can now fully tighten down the top strap. Notice how it pulls the bike rack up. And now we can fully tighten down the bottom straps. Pulling down. There we go. If you have a lot of excess strap, that's okay, because you can fold them or roll them up, whichever you prefer, and fit them into the rubber strap holder that's on your bike rack. So this will provide that cinch for the straps. There is an included security strap where you secure the bike rack to your car. So this has metal cable on the inside of the strap, and then you have your hatch anchor. What this does is this feeds into the notch here in the back. I'm going to bring this up through, and then we're going to feed it through the strap, just like that. So from this point, you can then either open up your window if it opens up and then put it through there, or have to open up the door again. That's why if you do want to use the security strap, I recommend installing it while you install the bottom hooks. On the other hand, I personally would not be using this as often because it's just another strap making contact with my vehicle's paint, and also it was a little bit of a hassle to put it onto the vehicle. If someone wants to go through the hassle of taking it off, that's on them at that point. With everything strapped down, just double check and make sure everything is secure. As you can see, I'm shaking the bike rack, I'm shaking the vehicle. So now we're ready to get our bike set up. These gray knobs need to be turned to rotate the arms. So it can be a little tricky at first. I recommend just practicing a little bit. So you're going to turn it as you wiggle the arm around. If you find that they're stiff, that helps a lot. And hold on to it as you lift up. Or if you drop it back down, it will lock into place. So holding it up, lifting up the arm, letting go, and then let it drop down. Because it drops down into position, I do recommend going a little bit higher than where you want it to go, and then letting it drop. Now this being uneven can be good if you're carrying around a single bike of a different frame level. That way you can get your bike as level as possible. With two bikes, you can't make that individual adjustment. So for most vehicles, you'll want the arms either parallel to the ground or slightly angled upwards if you can't get them completely parallel. That way your bikes aren't leaning as far down, but it also depends on how your bikes sit on the carrier. Now this is usually when you start putting the bikes on. These are zip strips that fit into the cradle. You just push down and you hear them zip down. Notice the rubber on the zip strip, which matches the rubber on the cradle. The cradle also has grooves on the inside. That way if you have brake lines, it gives space for that. When you do need to remove it, you just press these levers and lift the zip strip up. To load the bike up, push that third cradle in to give yourself more space. Get your first bike, lift it up and into the arms and settle it onto the cradle. Notice the positioning of our bike here, where we have our drivetrain facing away from the car, a little bit different compared to hitch mounted racks. Once it's in place, we can then push the frame of the bike up as far as it can go against the cradle, so we have a flush fit all around. And now for the zip strips. Do the back strips first and make sure they're flush against your frame, providing the best fit. And then make sure all three are firmly connected. With your mountain bikes, they usually work for the hanging rack. I've found that small frames don't really have a triangle that's large enough though to fit through the arms. So that's something worth considering. Notice here how we have the bike backwards to the first bike. And you are going to have to deal with handlebars and pedals and drivetrains being in the way. This also is angled a little bit more with our extra large frame. Ideally, you want the heavier bike closer to the car, the lighter bike further out. I have them slightly switched up just to show the differences in the frame. So there is a stabilizing strap included with your bike rack. This is necessary because even if you strap down those zip strips, your front wheels will still pivot around. Not good when you're on the road. So what I like to do is I like to put it on the back of the front tires. You can also put them around your front handlebars or your forks, whichever is better of a fit for multiple bikes. Now this strap is long enough for up to 3 bikes. With 2 bikes, you can have more space to wrap it around your frame for more support. And this secures with a little bit of a cam on the end of the plastic buckle. So make sure it's cinched tight before you ride. When you are parked, you can use the security cable, and this goes around part of your bike's frame. If you have a second bike, it might not fit. So the way to use this is this goes around the frame and goes into the lock here at the end. Now you can have your things key-alike with your other accessories, so you only need to use one key to match everything. And if you have 2 bikes or want to secure the bike further away, I recommend using your own cable lock. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So we can see here how the bike rack moves with our truck. Hopefully this video helped you out with seeing how this is going to fit onto your Seltos. I do know that Kia and Yakima have a good relationship, and they like to make sure that the Yakima FullBack works well with this car. But if you do get the chance to, we do have hitches available for this vehicle, and if you would like to upgrade to a hitch-mounted bike rack in the future, that is the ideal way to go. But other than that, if you do need a trunk-mounted bike rack and you want one that you know has more premium features to protect the exterior of your car, this was a look at the Yakima FullBack 2-bike trunk-mounted bike rack, and you saw it on a 2023 Kia Seltos.